Back to the phones, open line Friday. We have 15-year-old Gideon on the phone from Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Hey, Gideon, how are you, sir? Great to have you on the phone, on the program.
Hi, Rush. Thanks for taking my call.
You bet.
Hi. I'd like to know, you mentioned Star Wars 7 earlier this week on Monday, and I want to know how that relates to politics and other movies relate to politics, because you always say that everything has to do with politics, even movies, and I want to know what that has to do specifically.
You're absolutely right. There's a political component to everything. What I mean by that, Gideon, is that in the entertainment world, in books, movies, music, whatever, every opportunity to advance the Democrat or leftist agenda is taken. Sometimes it's subtle, sometimes it's blatant. But politics is a part of everything we do, but a lot of people don't notice it, don't spot it, don't want to. They don't want to think politics is an entertainment. Entertainment's an escape from all that. They think the Republicans are who is political, and the Republicans are mean-spirited, extremists, and racist and all that. Now, specifically about Star Wars and the latest, until I see it, I will not be able to analyze the political content for you. I have no idea what it's about, and I disagree with people who are already attaching a political agenda to it because of the cast. There are some people it has an African-American star, British African star, and so some people are claiming that it has a racial component to it. I don't have no idea until I see it. The only thing I can tell you is that J.J. Abrams, who is this movie, he's the writer, director, producer, the guy hosts fundraisers for Democrats constantly. He has raised millions of dollars for Democrats. He's entirely, thoroughly political and believes fully in the advancement of the Democrat agenda, which is fine. It's just that many of these people try to hide the subtle influences in their work that really is political. The only thing I try to do here is alert people and inform them in such a way they can spot it. Now, look, I know you have more to say, but I've got a break here. I've got a hard break that doesn't move. So hang on, Gideon. We'll be right back and continue in a second. Thank you. Thank you, and I know. It's great to have you back, folks. Open line Friday. Back to Gideon in Oshkosh. Okay, Gideon, we have a little bit more time. Before you reply, during the break, I remembered something, and I was able to find it. And I'm holding it here in my formerly nicotine-stained fingers. It's a French news agency story, May 16th, 2005. So you're 15. This was 10 years ago. So you were 5 years old when this story ran. It's about Star Wars 6. The Star Wars Episode 3, actually Revenge of the Sith, aired or played at the Cannes Festival in May of 2005. And let me just give you the headline here, Gideon. Star Wars saga ends with jab at Bush's empire. And this is how it opens. The last episode, rounding out the seminal Star Wars science fiction saga, screened at the Cannes Film Festival today, capping a 6-part series that remains a major part of popular culture and delivering a galactic jab to U.S. President George Bush. And the producers admitted this. And it was J.J. Abrams, the same guy doing Star Wars 7.
Right.
So it's undeniable. It really is undeniable there's politics in everything. And if I were with you day to day, I could point it out to you in virtually anything you do.
Well, right. There was the same thing with The Dark Knight. I heard the same thing in 2008. It was poking at George W. Bush.
Right. Well, it's not, in many cases, Giddy, it's not focusing on a person or a president. It makes fun of a belief system, makes fun of certain values, and promotes others.
Well,
it seeks to normalize certain things and make opposition to those things look bigoted. Sometimes it's subtle, sometimes it isn't. Sometimes it's blatant and right in front of you. But my point is that a lot of people, I don't like politics. I just don't like it. It's everywhere is my point. One of my quests is to try to help people spot it everywhere it is. I just want people to be as informed and educated as they can be and not get tricked and not get what's a better word? Not brainwashed, but seduced by some of this stuff. That causes them to it will change the way they support political issues or vote or what have you.
Right. Well, I think you were talking. Benghazi's been a big issue this week, and Michael Bay is making a movie called 13 Hours: The Secret Soldiers of Benghazi. I'm not really sure what it's about. I just know it's about Benghazi, but I figure I don't like Michael Bay too much, but I don't know what that would exactly push for the leftists. Michael
Bay, he does Transformers, right?
Yes.
And he also does
Pearl Harbor.
And he's also consulting or exec producing on the TV show The Last Ship.
Okay.
And The Last Ship, you can find a lot of ingredients there. I didn't know Michael Bay was doing a Benghazi movie.
Yeah, I saw it in a commercial in the theater like a couple weeks ago.
Well, this is a wild guess because I don't know what Michael Bay's politics are. All I know is that it is really rare to be a known conservative and get jobs at prominence in Hollywood.
Okay.
Tom Selleck has pulled it off. Charlton Heston has pulled it off. I'm going to stop naming names. They really, there's a whole bunch of conservatives that work in Hollywood who do not want it known what their politics is. They're really afraid of not working. So
the thing is, Rush, I want to work in movies of some sort someday. That's kind of what I want to do, and I want to write stuff, and I feel like I make it known to people at school, at least, that I am a conservative. I mean, I don't say that I'm a conservative, but through my actions, I can tell. And the way that other people treat me, they know that I'm a conservative, basically.
Is it?
Because I have a very liberal school. Like, everybody at my school, I don't even know if they know that they're liberals, but they're liberals, basically.
That's my point. That's exactly my point, Gideon. How does that happen? They don't even know they're liberals.
Rush.
Well, it happens because they are subtly influenced, maybe even subliminally in ways, by advertising, by the TV shows that they watch. I mean, you look at the behaviors in network TV, primetime TV, that have been normalized lately. I mean, There's a political agenda behind that, and it's undeniable. Now, let me ask you, has your self-professed conservatism, so if I know you're only 15,
right,
but has it gotten in your way yet?
Well, I've had several teachers that have, because the way that they treat me, I feel like it's been different because the way that I respond to questions that they ask me and in papers and stuff, I write my answers down, and after those papers, after I get those papers back, there was one paper in particular where I spent, it was a thing about how the world began, or cosmology, and I wrote about what I did was I wrote about what the content that the teacher was telling me to write about, but I also wrote about creation at the same exact time, and I turned it in, and I spent so much time on it. I get it back, I got a D on it. I feel like it's just because I had everything else that they wanted me to put in there. I made sure that I had all the content right that they wanted me to learn, but just because I put the creationist stuff in there, I feel like that's the reason that I got the D on the project.
Did you say D or B?
D.
As in dog?
D as in dog.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, it's I don't know the teacher, obviously the circumstances, but it would not be a shock if that were a factor like you suspect. It wouldn't be the first time. If it's the case, and grades matter. I mean, you want to eventually get into a great film school.
Right.
You want to be able to take this and get the best education you can, so grades matter. So you're faced with, okay, do I compromise and keep hidden what I believe in order to not present myself as a problem to these teachers and so forth? Or do I stand up for what I believe and be upfront with it and so forth? This is something you'll decide as you go. Ultimately, Hollywood needs, if this desire of yours is real, and if you really love this, and if you really want to do movies.
Because I do, Rush. I do love
well, then
movies.
do
I
what,
want to make them.
Then my advice, because we need people like you there, my advice to you would be to do what it takes to get there. Because that's your ultimate desire. You want to do movies. You want to do big movies. You want to do.
I do want to make big movies, Rush.
All right. Well, there's a certain culture. There's a certain culture that determines what gets made. There's a certain culture that determines who gets hired. And I think you can overcome it. There's plenty of, it's not impossible.
Right.
Keep your eye on the prize. I'm not saying for the next number of years during your education that you turn your back on what you believe.
Oh, definitely not.
Strategically use it.
Right.
If they want a story on the cosmos, they want your thoughts on the cosmos, and you want to put creationism in it, go ahead and put it in there, but put it in the words of other people. Now, some people say that other people say, but you go ahead and write about it what you think, but do it in a way that doesn't make you the target. You can still be true to yourself. You can still get it in there, and maybe be less of a target for teachers who are on the lookout for people like you that they want to punish or at least not reward properly. But seriously, the entertainment pop culture community is crying for people who think like you do, who want to make movies. And by the way, have you noticed that family-oriented movies, not that that's what you're interested in, but this is an example, family-oriented movies just do gangbusters at the box office? They still do. Wholesome, whatever you define that as being, still kick butt. They still make a lot of money. They do great box office.
Pixar, Inside Out, has made $350 million some dollars this year in the summer.
Exactly. So if your desires remain feverish, and this is as you get older, and this just intensifies as what you want to do, then you'll as you get older, you'll figure this. Do what it takes to get there without, in your own heart, compromising yourself. If you have to hide certain things from certain people that can stand in your way, do it, as long as you're not abandoning it.
Yeah.
And if you want to be in their face with it, then do that too.
Huh. Yeah.
The quality of your work ultimately will take you where you're going to go.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's you gotta be original with your work is what I've learned, and that's what gets you into. That's what gets people watching your stuff. Because if it's original, it's stuff they haven't seen before.
Content,
which is why conservative is original. Because if as you say, a lot of movies are for the leftist agenda. If it's for my side of things, that would be original for the population of America. And that would be the reason why.
Well, you look at the original Star Wars. You were not born yet. They came out in the 80s, Reagan, 70s and 80s. The original Star Wars, you can meet, they were evil, good versus evil. There was no question. And the evil was obviously evil. And if any comparison was made back then, it was made to the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
And that's the evil today is portrayed as Republicans. Darth Vader, if Darth Vader were being made for the first time today, he'd be George W. Bush.
Yeah, exactly. That's why, I think that's what Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight. Heath Ledger was supposed to be George W. Bush. That's what I was saying earlier.
Right. And it didn't start that way. It started out 70s or 80s. Star Wars was big because it was traditional American good versus evil, and good triumphed. The little guys, the small D Democrats, the democracy guys, the freedom guys, they kicked the butt of the evil empire. And today, the evil empire has become conservatism, the Republican Party, and that means you with what you're doing. So I think you've got a handle on this. You sound like a really bright guy. So you
thanks, Rush.
You bet. Just keep on, because if you could get to Hollywood doing what you want to do, you could end up making a huge impact. I really hope you do.
Thank you very much, Rush.
And I thank you. I'm glad you called, Gideon. Thanks much. Brief time out, folks, as we roll on right after this. No.